Hello, everyone. My name is Tatiana Webb, and this is Off the Record, brought to you by Nana Music Productions. Today, we're here with Bright the MC. How are you this morning?
I am great. I'm living. So
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you on the show. Today, we are going to talk about sync licensing and songwriting. But before we get into all of that, Bright, can we talk a little bit about you? We met in the Mad Lucrative Network with Magneto 7. And so what was it? We were just in a group chat and we just kept firing off text messages and we were like, we need to connect. So can you tell me a little bit about how you got connected with Mad Lucrative Network and then just your background with music?
so I'm a stickler for a certain type of music. And I was on TikTok and I saw Nito creating music, and the way he would create music, it was like it drew me into him, his creativity. So then I found him on Instagram and I started, checking out his music, and the style of music, it was like perfect for what I write. And we had like conversations, inboxing each other. And he was like, "Man, join my Patreon." He kept saying it, and I was like, "No, I'm like, cool." And then I joined the Patreon, and when I got in there, and my life changed that day. So I got to meet you, so it was cool.
Yeah, no, I he was actually on our very first episode. So shout out to Magneto 7 and Mad Lucrative Network. If you aren't a part of that community, please get plugged in. But he and I we met in a conference in Tallahassee, and we bumped into each other, and you can see the episode that we talk about that. But afterwards, we were able to come and do the podcast recording, and he just kept again saying, "Join my Patreon, join my different communities and stuff like that." And so I had the same kind of draw to his community. But the other thing was, like how you said, it was how he was writing his music. Because see, growing up, I was a bass player. I played a little piano and I sang, and so hearing how he brought the actual instruments out and would actually create the beats and the music in real time instead of, okay, I'm gonna just real quick do a track on this and just add a beat here. And there's creativity with that too, but there's something different when you bring the actual instrument out and you're doing that stuff. So to me, that's where I got drawn into how he was songwriting and how he was creating beats. And but you are a very prolific songwriter. So, guest, if you're listening in, all I'm gonna say is this: I have heard this man's music. I've heard his raps. I've heard his rhythms. I've heard his catalog, and oh my God, it's amazing. And it's just like, can you talk a little about what kind of music you write, and just a little bit about how you got into songwriting?
So far as the kind of music I write, I write based on a feeling, but I can write anything: country, gospel, rap, hip hop, pop, folk. It's not a genre I can't write. And if I get to somewhere I'm challenged, I tap in, and you know, I always find the inspiration and way to come out successful on that side, because I put things together for a reason, and they all seem to line up. So that's been that. But I've been writing music. Um, I was a kid in Germany, and we would all get together, and we used to have a few of my friends. We used to have freestyle, and I started writing music at 17,
Mm.
but it would just be like little raps on napkins. But I seriously got into writing, and when I took it more serious was 5 years ago. So around the COVID era, I mean, I started writing more music, and from there, I built like a catalog of over 3,000 song lyrics, and probably mm, might be over 1,000 songs that I've written. So, and being a truck driver, I've been driving trucks for over 20 years, for over 2 decades. And so all I did was just listen to music, rock music, hip hop, gospel, no matter what. I always just for hours, 10 hours a day, 8, 9 hours. Even when I got into bed and went to sleep, I would play music to go to sleep. And so that's always heightened my creativity to create music. So
My gosh. I mean, 3,000 song ideas, 1,000 song. I mean, my gosh, like it takes me 10 years to write a second album. Like I'm sitting here struggling over here. So to say that just being inspired during a time where we all were, at the house or we were more in a creative space, you took that and you ran with it. Like that's amazing. And you've been running with it. Just to talk a little bit about your songwriting. I mean, you are a lyrical, just I say a genius. Like my gosh, the way that you craft words and the way that you it's the intention behind what your message is with whatever you're talking about. That resonates with me as a songwriter because when I write my music I try to portray a deeper meaning behind it. So the fact that you do that as well, it's just finding it's good to find a mutual kindred spirit on that one. But with your songwriting, you mentioned no genre, there's no genre limit. And I love that too, because again, songwriters, we have a creativity flow. Can you talk a little bit about, your flow and just how you get into that mind space of songwriting and stuff? Because I know you say it's consistent, but I want to hear kind of your perspective on that.
I'm I'm a very descriptive writer. Um, I write from vision, and a lot of times I play scenes in my head and I just narrate what I see in
Mm,
my thoughts. So that means I'm more of a visual writer. A lot of times, if I go to like a topic of something I hear in a song of a certain thing, if I do something like family get together, so I will go and grab photos from like Google, and I would get like family photos, and then I would just like rearrange them, set them up like in a theme, and then I would rap. I would write based on either rap or just a R&B or any kind of music that I'm writing, and I would just narrate from those because like we all know a picture is worth narratives, thousand narratives, a million narratives. So I just borrow inspiration from those, and that's how I create. That's how I write. So
fantastic. I mean,
one of one of my secrets I'm willing to give out. I have
uh-oh.
some. I'll give you that one.
Break, yeah, because I will say when we've talked before, you would give me a word picture, and I'm a very visual writer too. I like to see things, or the way you describe things, you can see it in your mind's eye. I mean, we were just talking about, you in school or like describe an apple or whatever, and I can see the way that you describe it with your lyrics. So all I'm saying is yes. Like I love that. So, okay, so you're this amazing songwriter with all these thousands of ideas, genre no limit, you are unstoppable. You're a I call it what is it? A monster, a music monster. So you are this beast, this monster beast. But where's your music? I can't find your music on Spotify. I can't
Yeah,
find
so
you anywhere. So,
I did one song, but I had other songs, but I didn't want to become an artist.
mm-hmm,
At first I aspired to become an artist, and I'm like any other artist. I wanted to sign to a record label. I wanted to be featured, and but I realized they have this thing called I have this thing that I created called sis, my big sis, SIS, like sister,
mm-hmm,
and it's success in silence.
mm,
And so I met this lady one time, and she told me, she was like, the most successful people you don't hear, you don't see. The person that creates these commercials for these big brands are behind the scenes. They're the wizards behind the curtain, but they reap the benefits of their creativity. You don't
mm,
have to be in a spotlight to get the shine. My philosophy is the sun is big enough, there's enough sun for everybody to get some shine. Right. And so once I realized that, behind the scenes, I was like, I have a knack for writing. So I want to write, and I've written for other artists, a lot of artists. And the thing is, I enjoy meeting with people And so that's why I say I'm gonna take some of the music that I would have put out, and I can use it for other avenues and or give it to other artists. So that's why I don't put music out, you know.
And that's fine. I mean, the way that we've talked before as well, like that works for you. And so kind of transitioning into that, you're taking that songwriting, and instead of being a artist where, again, you're in the spotlight and you're shining on stage or anything like that, you're shining through sync licensing. So can we talk a little bit about for people who are new to sync licensing, what is sync licensing for a songwriter or just in general?
So at first, I didn't have any idea what sync licensing was. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend, shout out to Naomi. She has a network, and she always highlighted songwriting, right? And it was due to her meeting Naomi that she gave me the inspiration to just write. And she had these artists in a collective it was a collaborative network, right? Similar to what we do with Nito and a Mad Lucrative network, right? So what happened was I started doing the music and everything and the sharing things with ideas with her. And then one day she hit me. I was like, Bright, I'm in the sync. And I was like, what's that? But then my old publicist was trying to get me in the sync.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was I wasn't successful because I was trying to write the music I wanted to hear. Here's the thing. That's the problem. When you write music that you want to hear, most time it's not going to work. When you write from the perspective of what people want to hear and see, right? Like the comedian that can tell the jokes when he can work the room and get people in their attention and set them up for the punchline, right? This is how the directive is given to where when you write the music, it gives a light to where people can see it visually and it sticks with them. So when I started writing from that angle, then it was easy for me to get opportunities, more opportunity with sync placement and it opened doors. So I have a few irons in the fire. So
Fantastic. And just to get into a more technical, like the sync licensing has to do with taking music and you are licensing your songs or the music for film and TV shows and, ads and commercials, things like that, where it's, being synchronized with video. So that, and so having a sync license, contract, that's where you are able to work out a deal where you get a percentage of the proceeds and all the revenue from the usage of those songs that you're writing. And so you may have, an agency like how you're talking about, or somebody that works those deals for you. But essentially, it's getting your music on TV and being able to showcase that. So for songwriters who are, who may not want to be an artist, this is a beautiful way for you to still be a part of the music industry without having to have that pressure of being, okay, now I've got to go get on stage and find a band and stuff. It's like, no, if you're a songwriter and you know how to work the studio and then go find a sync licensing opportunity for you to be able to showcase your music. So, and again, you hear music everywhere. Like, I mean, even sync licensing could be for, a theme park or, those kind of things. So it doesn't have to be just in the area of TV. It's literally everywhere. So yeah. So okay, so you said that when you first did sync licensing, it was it didn't go really well. So are you saying that you're now successful and you're doing some things now?
I'm actually connected to three networks for sync licensing. So it's
Wow.
three different outfits that I'm connected to that I do music for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's where I started. Naomi has given me the greatest avenue, the most creative, like she's given me the biggest opportunities with the music and my first sync placement came from her.
Mm.
And it's the thing is you have to find, if you write a certain style of music, it's synced just for that. If you create just for sports, or I've heard stuff on. I play video. I'm an avid gamer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I play a lot of sports. So I was like, man, if I could ever get my song into that. Here's the thing: people take advantage of your hunger and your
Ooh.
thirst. And what happens is they will say, "Oh, I can get your stuff and this and that," when they're stealing your ideas.
Mm.
So before you get off into doing stuff for sync and working with these people, you should you shouldn't have to pay anyone or organization to get your music, if because they make money from you.
Mm.
They make money when your song gets placed. They get a percentage of that, basically like a finder's fee, right? So why would I pay you monthly when I don't even have, as an artist, to have the catalog to support a monthly payment? So when something comes along, no, it used to be where if your music was good, it opened doors by itself.
Mm.
Now people can attach things to your hunger, and you pay to eat, and then I'm gonna pay you extra for the napkins and condiments.
Mm.
At the end of the day, what's your fulfillment? Because out here they have that starving artist thing, whatever. But it's not that theme anymore when you have so many opportunities with social media and these platforms to get heard. It's just that some people don't use it to their advantage.
Yeah,
So that's
and
what I'm
if you
saying.
don't use it to your advantage, then other people will take advantage. And so, yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I think it's very straightforward and clear to say that this industry it's kind of the wild wild west. Like there's no way to learn one way about the music industry, and there's so many different areas of the industry where you can get tapped in. And so with sync licensing, for a lot of songwriters, like I was saying, there's not a lot of people who know about how to get into something like that, and then when you're in, get taken advantage of. And that's kind of with all the different areas, because even like with recording, not recording, with like record labels and getting a record deal and those kind of things. Like, if you don't understand your contracts, if you don't understand the terms and conditions of what you're signing up for, you will get taken advantage of because you're hungry, you want to be the superstar, or you really want your song on X network, because I'm not going to name any networks. But point being is, your hunger is very valuable to you because it keeps you going. But you have to be able to keep your mind focused on, okay, the business of music, the business of you as a brand. They want your sound. Okay, now what does this contract say, and make sure that that contract is in line with what your goals are. And if you're okay with that 30%, great. Hey, I would much rather have 30% or 20% of 100 songs rather than 100% of one song and it only go to one placement, because I'm saying, like, the checks are going to keep coming either way. So for point being, for people who are trying to get their songwriting and get their intellectual property into the room where there are people listening, you have to also think about the business side and those contracts and what you're signing up for. And just, it's not as a warning, it's just as a be prepared kind of thing. So okay, great. We can get into this real deep if we really wanted to. But I do want to, we kind of started tapping into it as well with the advice part of it. So with songwriting specifically, with how you write and everything, how would you recommend I'm talking about a brand new Bambi songwriter wanting to try to get into songwriting? What is some techniques that they could take home and start practicing with on like I said, on a very basic level?
I would say transitions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, Songs are built in a certain structure, but if you look at TV and film, it's sporadic. It changes. You have to be able to Your music has to be able to flow with the mood of an ever-changing scene. And you might have something that starts out a certain way. Give for an example. Let's say if I wrote a song and the whole song is just going on one, it's just linear, going one way, and it just doesn't peak or drop or come back up. It's not the roller coaster, right? And it's not if you got on a roller coaster and if it was just a straight ride, you wouldn't get any excitement and enjoyment. So you got to create music in the form of a roller coaster. And what also flows that way is a heartbeat, a rhythm.
Mm.
So a heartbeat goes up and down, and the music changes. So why would you write music on a straight line through that when you can ride that wave of creativity? So my thing is for any artist that's getting into this new, the first advantage you have is to reshape the way you write your music in a sense of being able to change the mood of your music. And if you can do that, you'll be successful because songs change. The instrumentals, that you write to or you create, it has to change. Your song can't sound the same way all the way through. And it won't get most time won't get picked up, at least for a certain part. Because let's say they take your song and your song has four different change ups. It's possible that your song can be in different scenes, and now your whole song is picked up, and that's more money. So,
Wow. Like, and again, I was hearing what you were saying, and when you started talking about, your instrumentation and how it moves, this is for composers too, like songwriters, yes, with lyrics, but this is a opportunity for composers as well in film scoring and stuff like that. So the way that, yeah, like, because the way that songs and not songs, TV shows and films move, you've got to follow a scene, and if your music can't follow that scene like how you're saying, then it's flat, or it's like, okay, great, it's a good bop, and then that's about it. So so
yeah,
yeah. So I appreciate that for our songwriters listening, because that kind of helps them be able to change their perspective, because a lot of songwriters, like for example, I used to get really into whatever I was feeling and my emotions about the song. And then it's like, okay, well, this is my song that I'm sharing with the world. But the way that you're talking about is, what does the world want to hear? And I'm going to create that.
yeah,
And, or more so to say, this is the environment that this film, this TV show, this commercial is in. How do I create the soundtrack for that? And how do I set that mood through my music? And it's instead of it being selfish of writing the song to emote my emotions, it's now being selfless of like how I'm trying to cater to whatever's happening. So that's beautiful.
yeah.
um
And you have to embrace your mood.
mhm.
The greatest thing you can have as an artist is mood swings. You have to take advantage of those emotions that you get, and whenever you get in the mood for something, write it down. See, that's why I have like over like 3,000, and you've seen it. I've shown you my catalog.
Yeah, oh my god, all I'm saying, people, is he was scrolling and he wasn't stopping, and I was like, it's been 5 minutes. Like, but no, no, you're
But,
right.
but so back when I was a kid, we had creative writing, and they always told us to write in a journal. And as a
Mhm.
guy, we thought like, I have a journal. It's not manly. Man, presidents had journals. Forefathers had journals. The greatest books written were journals that was composed and compiled of things what they thought, right? So we have to get out of the mindset of like this stigma, because what happens, it limits your creativity and it puts you in a box. And so, like I say, write your thoughts down. They could become the intro that could spark one of the greatest songs ever written, if not for you, for other people.
Mhm.
And so that's what I would leave you with, something like that.
Yeah, you were talking about the notebooks and stuff. It reminded me of my granddaddy. He wore suspenders and his button-down shirt, and then he had a little pocket, and he had his pen and his little notebook. And so anywhere he went, that's where he had his little pen and his notebook. And if he ever needed it, he wrote stuff down. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's not it has nothing to do with femininity, masculinity, whatever. It's capturing creative moments and capturing ideas while they are fresh, because I can't tell you how many times I've had a song idea and I'll be like, "Oh, that's great." And then I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
And then it's like, whoof, and it's like, "Where did it go?" Like, come back, you were great. So so now I write down everything. So um
We're verbal photographers.
yeah. Ooh, say that
So
again.
it's like a photographer walks around with a camera,
Mhm.
right? And then we all have cell phones and everything, but it's different when they know how to capture moments, right? And at the same time, we do the same with writing those words down. Because like in our head, I can see something or hear something from a conversation, and I can write it down and be
Mhm.
done with it. I can go back to it later. So that's why I said, keep it on hand.
I love that. Now, okay, so that's from the songwriting standpoint. Now, with the sync licensing, as far as getting your foot in the door kind of style, do you have any advice on that for someone who is a songwriter? They've worked on their transitions. They've got a good catalog of songs and music that they can submit. How would one get started with getting into this?
I would do research, and it's always so we miss opportunities when we don't pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always someone that has information that's looking, but you have to do research to make sure everything lines up and it doesn't lack validity.
Legitimate, yeah.
So you don't want to send your music and pitch it to someone that's looking for something that they can borrow your ideas.
Mm.
So you want to make sure, and then you want to um, get into communities where they do songwriting. Because when I got involved with everyone, no one, you heard what I said at first, it was all about songwriting and
Mm-hmm.
collaborating with artists. And then I run into some artists say, "Hey man, I'm doing sync." I'm like, "What? Wow." And they open the door. So it's your network has a lot to do with who you meet and the people you interact with. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a one-stop shop, like because everyone looks for something different. And that's like saying I'm gonna get a bake, someone that can bake bread and stuff. I'm gonna go get them and I need you to write me songs about being a car mechanic. It doesn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find people in communities that's writing, and you have to join communities and reach out and interact with people. That's how I did. So through Naomi. So it wasn't like I met somebody, man, they was like, yeah, this is an agency. Because I never went through agencies. I
Mm-hmm.
did the three outfits that I'm involved with. One was through Nito.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was through Naomi, and another one through a friend of mine named Chase. And those, you hear what I said, through friends.
Mm-hmm.
So my advice would be to network with people because you never know who people know. When I found out the people that Magneto produced for and who he knew, and this is a brother that's always telling people to join my community and work with me, and I'm like, and it's a bittersweet. Like, man, if you don't miss it, I'm gonna get that opportunity that you left on the table.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how does it help his growth?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to interact with each other. So that's how you have to meet people, and the only way to do that is you got to get in communities. You got to go out. You got to go attend these gatherings and pass out cards or get to know people, exchange your information, and watch what door. Once they find out you're a good person, then
Mm-hmm.
you possibilities are unlimited.
Awesome. I mean, no, I was gonna echo the same thing because I will say this just on a personal basis, the growth in my network from just this year. So for listeners and for people tuning in, This company's been rolling for, 7 years. For the first 5 years, 6 years, I'm sorry, 5 years, I was doing it by myself and my friend Marcus Dorsey. He's our creative director, and my ride or die at this point. But we were trying to do everything by ourselves. Last year I was not doing anything. I kind of took a break from music industry because I was focused on some schoolwork. I was working with my other job, and so I was not focused in on my music. So flash forward now to January of this year, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get back into it. And now I have a team. We have, including myself, there's 9 of us. And then in May, we met Magneto and we met several other amazing people at a conference in Tallahassee. That was the Institute of Music Business conference. So they're doing their conference again. And then through the Patreon and through the community that Magneto had, I got to meet you and I got to meet a few other amazing people. And it grew. And now we're in October and kind of dating the podcast here. But now we're in October, 10 months later. And it's like, oh my gosh, my network has grown so much. And I've reconnected with people that I was building that network with 5 years ago, and now they want to work more. And so it's those friendships that cultivate the community, but then also it creates those opportunities for you to be able to, get tapped in. So it's very important, like how you're saying, get in opportunities where there's means for connection with people, because you those lead to other opportunities. But I will say this much before we go, that Nana Music Productions, we will be having some events and things coming up soon where you will be able to connect and have networking opportunities with people. We have a few initiatives that we do. So if you are interested in connecting with people, please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all of those social media things. Look up our website, nanamusicproductions.com. We will be updating the website soon. But if we were to try to get in contact with you and get connected with you, Bright, how would one get in contact with you?
So it's same across all platforms, Bright the MC. Um, so Instagram is Bright the MC, BRIGHTDAEMCEE. TikTok, you can Google me, so I'm easily accessible and I'll connect with people and I'm willing to work with anyone, help write music, anything I can help you with as an artist, that's cool. I'm very helpful. So
I know, I will say messaging you on that DM little thing on the Patreon thing was probably the best thing I could have done, because I'm telling you, every time we get together, it is so collaborative, it's so creative. I mean, I'm telling you, if you guys tap in and work in with Bright MC, you are going to have a great time. You are going to have a very creative time. It's going to be just a very amazing. It's going to be a great session anytime that you guys work together. So I'm looking forward to seeing more music out there, and hopefully this helps everybody out in their songwriting and sync licensing journey. We will be talking more about these topics later on. So please be tuned in to our podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Nana Music underscore off the record. And you can also find us on Spotify and YouTube at Off the Record Podcast. And of course Nana Music Productions as the host. But my name is Tatiana Webb, and remember, this podcast is Off the Record.